Hello and welcome to our webinar. My name is Mudit Saxena and I'm with XeroHome. This webinar has been brought to you with support from the City of Santa Monica and Southern California Edison. We are joined by Drew Johnston of the Santa Monica Office of Sustainability and Environment and Andres Fergadiotti from the Southern California Edison. I'm also joined by my colleagues Peter May Ostendorp and Inder Dheer of XeroHome. And to kick us off, we have Drew Johnston from the City of Santa Monica.
Sure. Good afternoon. I'm Drew Johnstone. I'm with the City of Santa Monica's Office of Sustainability and the Environment, and I lead our climate energy team. So I'm responsible for implementing a lot of our policies and programs to help decarbonize our buildings within the city, as well as the transportation sector. We're so fortunate to be working for the City of Santa Monica, which has a long history of sustainability practices and policies. And most recently, I'm really proud to say that we've implemented a building code that affects all new construction, and we are promoting all electric building systems. So we're really discouraging the use of natural gas in our buildings, since there are high efficient electric alternatives to all of the hot water heating, mechanical, and cooking needs in our buildings. In addition, the city also requires on-site solar photovoltaics for all new construction. So we've really seen a really big uptick in the installation of rooftop solar photovoltaics throughout the city. And speaking of electricity and energy, wanted to share that the city is a member of the Clean Power Alliance, which supplies 100% renewable energy through the grid. So all electricity customers in the city, they, on their monthly Southern California Edison bill, they see line items for Clean Power Alliance. So that's their electricity generation provider. And then Southern California Edison delivers that power to each of our homes and businesses. And it's a great partnership that's enabled the city to provide customers with 100% renewable energy through the grid. And since joining the Clean Power Alliance, our citywide emissions have been reduced by about 17%. So we're really proud of that. And because our electricity is so clean, it's really important that folks in their homes and businesses try to electrify as much of their end uses and appliances as possible to live that zero emission sort of lifestyle at home. And so I'm really proud to have partnered with Southern California Edison and XeroHome on this innovative web-based tool called XeroHome that allows single-family homeowners in the city to look at their individual home and look at a roadmap for how they can upgrade their properties to be more energy efficient. And we know that's more important now than ever, since people are, teleworking, working from home. Kids are going to school at home, so I'm guessing your utility bills are probably higher now than they've ever been. So it's more important now than ever to think about how to be more efficient and think about those upgrades that you can implement in the coming months or in the year or two ahead. So with that, I'd like to pass it back to XeroHome. Thank you. Oh, actually, one final thing. I forgot to share some really exciting news. Our Office of Sustainability just launched a new rebate program. So as you're viewing the XeroHome demonstration, they're going to talk a lot about water heating, HVAC systems, maybe switching out gas cooking to electric. And so our department now has a rebate program for just those appliances. So we're offering anywhere from $100 to $400 per appliance type. And I'm going to be sharing the rebate information with Mudit so he can send it to the attendees of this webinar. But yeah, more information can be found at the city's sustainability website, which is sustainablesm.org.
Awesome.
All right.
That's
Thank
really
you.
great. Great news. Thank you for sharing that. And it's so relevant to what we're going to be talking about today. So kind of good timing on that as well. All right. So with that, we can move over to Andres. Andres just joined us. Andres, hello. You seem to be muted. Would you be able to unmute yourself and so you can talk?
Yeah, I think, can you hear me? Can you guys hear
Yes.
me?
Yes, I can hear you now, Andres.
Perfect. Thank you so much, City of Santa Monica, first of all, and Moody and Drew for all the work that you guys been supporting on this project. Um, the main idea from a utility perspective, from SE perspective, is to increase the uptake of energy efficiency in general. So there's specific California statewide goals of reducing GHG emissions. So again, this is pretty exciting project in which we're trying to do our best to reduce energy consumption in your home. So that's pretty much from the SE perspective what we're trying to do and what they intend with this kind of the demonstration projects. We also are trying to see how these processes can be improved moving forward. So this is sort of a pilot, but again, we're trying to gather data so that this type of process can be improved in the future. I think that's at a high level. That's my feedback, Moody.
That's great, Andres. Thank you for that. A quick word from XeroHome. Just wanted to thank Southern California Edison and the city of Santa Monica for giving us this opportunity to pilot this program to the citizens of Santa Monica and their support along the way in doing that. So thank you for all the help and support. With that, let's the main part of what we wanted to do here today was to really show you a demonstration of the XeroHome application. It's a web-based application that's now available to all homeowners in Santa Monica. You should be able to use that at all times and really get a lot of benefit from it. So our plan is to do that. So let me just jump right in. So I've got a couple of slides to build up to the demo, and then we'll walk right into the demo. Okay, with that, let's start. So as Drew mentioned, things are really different. 2019, 2020 was a really strange year to say the least, given COVID and the changes that we've all had to incorporate into our lifestyles. So it should come as no surprise to us that the way we use energy has changed. And now there's a lot of data available, so people have been looking into that and saying, how has energy usage changed? And how have people been using energy compared to 2019? Here's some quick data on that. The Cal ISO, which is the body that actually looks at energy usage, published some numbers fairly early when the stay-at-home order was issued in California. And they concluded that because more people were staying at home, this is during the summertime, the cooling energy use has increased by about 9%. And overall, the state is seeing a 5% reduction in power usage. That's because office buildings are unoccupied, factories are not running to full capacity because of COVID. But the cooling energy use in homes has gone up, which makes sense because they're spending a lot more time at home. So that kind of makes sense, and that additional energy usage is now a burden to homeowners. Another study looked at this across the United States, and they looked at how many, what is the overall energy sales data compared to 2019, and they concluded that in California, the residential energy sales have increased by 15%. So all energy, not just cooling, but all energy usage. You're using your computers more, you're using your lighting more. That's increasing your energy usage by about 15%. So it should come as no surprise to us if we look at our utility bills in 2020, and they are now more than they were in 2019. So that begs the question, so where's my energy really going? Where am I using more energy in my house? If I'm using more of it, I'd like to know. So we can give you the first answer, which is kind of a general answer. Like, generally speaking, for homes in California, we looked at some data that has been collected over time. The answer looks more like a 60-40 split. So you use about 60% of your energy for heating, cooling, and water heating. So those are your main end users, if you would, for your energy. And about 40% is being used in lighting and appliances like computers and TVs and lights and dishwashers and so on. So those appliances and lighting are using about 40%. But this is kind of an average for all California and not specifically for one home. You might look at this and say, I live in Santa Monica and my heating cooling needs are very different from someone who lives in Northern California, for example. And if you average across this big state, does this really hold any sense for me? How do I make sense of this? You might say that my home is different, and we want to acknowledge that every home is different. And that sort of begs the question that wouldn't it be great if there was one location, one website where I could just type in my home address. And if the home address can reveal where I am, the location, the climate I'm in, and maybe some other information, couldn't we get some more specific answers about what I could do to kind of understand where energy is going and what I can do to reduce that? So, the question then becomes, what about your home? What about your home is very specific, right? So what could you do to make your home more energy efficient, to lower your utility bills, to make it more comfortable, or perhaps your driving factor is to have a lower impact on a carbon impact on the planet. So what would you do? And it's a very, very good question. So the kind of questions that we'd like to be able to give you an answer for are, hey, should I be doing solar because everybody else is doing it? Or should I be looking at energy efficiency as my first option? My utility is giving a rebate. Drew just talked about another rebate that's being added onto it from Santa Monica. Does it really make sense for me to use that and upgrade my water heater, for example? I may have done, or you may have done other upgrades recently, like a ceiling insulation or weather or a new air conditioning system. Does it still make sense for me to go more? So wouldn't it be great if you could answer these questions more specific to your home? Because every home is different, as we said. Every house has a slightly different question that's being asked. Which is where XeroHome comes in. So we developed XeroHome as a web application for you to find the right energy plan for your home. So it works just as simply as we're showing on the screen, which is you type in your home address, and it kind of takes off autopilot from there and gives you a customized roadmap of what you should be doing with your home, given all the information we can digest from a home address, and be able to kind of specifically tailor some recommendations for you. So with that, we're going to jump into the demo of this tool, which is now available. It has been available since October for Santa Monica. So all homeowners in Santa Monica can now use this tool. The link is on my screen, which is my.xerohome.com. That is our link. That's the link to the app. And if you land there, which we'll show you in a minute, the most obvious thing to do is kind of put in your home address and you're ready to go. So with that, I will switch to my web browser, and we're going to go.
And while Mudit's doing that, maybe just a couple of quick housekeeping items, because we had a couple new attendees join. If you have questions during the course of the demo, that's great. Happy to take them. And the way you can do that, you should see a Q&A box at the bottom of your screen that allows you to type in questions, and we'll be checking for that, and we'll try to answer them at the appropriate time in the demo. So thanks for being active participants.
Great, thank you, Peter, and thanks for everyone who just joined us. So you're joining at a pretty good time. We are about to get into the demo of the application, the XeroHome application. So if you go to my.xerohome.com, this is the landing page that you would be greeted with. To be able to create a customized plan, we need a goal to shoot for, and the goal that we are shooting for is a net zero energy home. A net zero energy home is a home that where the amount of energy that you use is equal to the amount of energy that you create, perhaps with solar on your rooftop. So it's got two parts of the equation, and the two balance each other out. So if you scroll to the bottom, you will see right here, this is your path to zero net energy home, starts here, and this is where you type in a home address. We'll do that in a second. I urge everyone to kind of quickly take a look at this 1-minute video that we've created, which helps you get started. And then we talk a little bit about some promotions that are going on, which we'll talk a little bit more in detail. And right at the bottom is that equation that I talked about. What is a net zero energy home? If you do energy upgrades and then you create solar, and that sort of matches your energy usage and energy production, you get to what we call a net zero energy home. It's a goal to shoot for. And we'll show you that when we shoot for that goal, we get a bunch of recommendations. And then from those recommendations, certain ones are the ones that really make sort of financial sense to you. So with that, let's go ahead and actually show you how this thing works. So you would type in a home address, you would type in your address. For our demo today, we have created a demo home. We call that 123 Demo Street. So if we type in this, you should be able to go, as soon as you type in about half the address, it starts to recommend your actual home address for you. If you're not in a single family home, if your home is either a multifamily home or an apartment, then the tool currently does not work for that. So you may not be able to enter that information. The tool will correct any spelling errors, or if you don't type in your address exactly, it does have ways to correct itself. But for now today, we're going to just go into this demo home. So I let the tool help me complete the total address. You see, I didn't type the whole thing. And now I'm going to hit search or enter. So as soon as you do that, you're taken to the next page. And what it's showing us here with that little animation on top is that it's found that home for you. So let's pretend we live at 123 Demo Street. And it quickly tells you all of the information that is actually available for homes that we can pick up from just a home address. So here you can see some what we call home facts. From the property assessment data that is public domain, we know that this home was built in 1920. It is a 2,107 square feet home. It's a single family home, 1 story, 2 bedrooms. And we also know something about the energy usage. We know that you don't have solar. This particular home doesn't have solar because we couldn't find any building permits that indicated so. If there were permits, we would be able to show that there was solar in this home. And it also shows us that it's using natural gas as a heating fuel. This information is public domain, is available for every home. And so what we're doing is we're using that to help guide our recommendations. So we also want to acknowledge that sometimes these public records can be off, and you might want to fix that. So we give you an opportunity to do that right here. You can click here to edit your home facts, and that allows you to change these values. So your square footage may be off, or maybe the year built might be wrong, or you might actually have solar and we didn't know that you had solar because the public records didn't show it. So you could fix that right here. I want to just say that this information, any information you provide to us that you fix here, is retained with XeroHome and is not it is not cycled back to the property assessment records. So it is any changes you make will just be for your particular home. We're not going to do that right now because I actually want to show you how the tool works. So we're going to go to the next step. As you can see, this is an optional step. There's another optional step for adding energy. We're going to skip that for now. We're going to get back to that later. But if everything looks good, and let's assume all this looks good, we can go to the next place, which is view energy plan. So when you do that, you see this diagram show up on the next page, which is great. So you'll see that there's also a promotion going on. Right now, we have a $10 promotion, a gift card that is provided to you if you claim your home and register with XeroHome. If you've already done that, that's great. You should have gotten your $10. If you haven't, all you have to do is click on I am the homeowner and claim this home. So it says, hey, great, you're at your last step for getting this free gift card, and says all you have to do is click on I'm the owner. I'm going to go ahead and get out of that little pop-up because we'll do that with you. But before we do that, let me just show you the most obvious thing that's on the screen right now, which is the roadmap, or we call it a plan an energy plan for your home. So this is a customized energy plan that we've been able to create based on the information we've collected already for your home. We know the climate that your home is in, and we know something about when it was built, the square footage, the shape of the home through satellite imagery and so on. And we are able to do energy calculations based off of that. What you see on the screen is really the simplest way to communicate a way for you to get to a goal of net zero energy. Each segment of this diagram is an energy efficiency measure. It's something you can do to the home to improve its energy performance. From left to right is how we want you to follow this diagram. It says you are here, and then the first arrow is seal ducts. The second one is lighting. The third one is called weatherization. Fourth is ceiling insulation. Fifth is duct insulation. Then comes rooftop solar. Then there's two others that'll get us there, which is heat pump, HVAC, and heat pump water heater. So these are things that you can improve in this house right now. There's a box around the first 6 arrows, and it says our recommendation. And what this diagram is really showing us is that with each of these energy upgrades, you're progressively getting closer and closer to your home. Now, as I hover over each, you can see that it's showing me that the length of each arrow corresponds to the percentage of energy saved. So if I come back out and click again, you can see the entire length of the diagram is all the energy that's used in the home. But every single segment is a percentage of that. So weatherization, for example, is saving 25% of energy. And as I do that, on the bottom, you see 3 numbers appear, which are very useful as a homeowner for you to kind of think about as you go through these options, which is it's the expected cost, so number of years to recover, expected cost, and expected savings. So weatherization, for example, is an interesting one, which is you make your home, you make it tighter, you make it more airtight. So you're allowing less of the unconditioned air into the space, which you then have to condition. So the cost for that is about $1,300. The savings is about $320 for this home. So it'll pay for itself in about 4 years. It's just dividing these 2 numbers. So you can see that's a pretty good thing for you to do for this home. Ceiling insulation doesn't save a lot. It saves only $95 per year and costs about $900. So it's not as good as weatherization, which is why it's been recommended after weatherization, because it takes about 9 years to recover. Duct insulation takes about 10 years to recover. Rooftop is taking about 12 years. So you can see that as we go from left to right, this first number is what's really changing that determines the order in which these recommendations are made. The ones that recover their cost quickly are being recommended first. The ones that take a little longer are being recommended later. You'll notice that the ones that, I hope that all that makes sense. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask us. So this kind of gives you the first shot, right? This is your recommendation to get to net zero energy. Now, there's a couple of these that perhaps don't make a lot of sense. So let's take a look at heat pump HVAC. Now, the savings on this are only $35 a year. The expected cost is about $8,000, and it'll take you over 100 years to recover that cost. So that is not a recommended measure here, unfortunately, because the cost of electricity is higher than the cost of natural gas. Switching to an electric heat pump, electric heat pump HVAC is not being recommended. So there are different homes, and there are different starting points, and for some it makes sense, for some it doesn't. So that's kind of how you would make sense of this particular diagram. You have the ability to, yes.
I think Moody, if I may, I think from that is correct. I mean, for that specific case, the installing the heat pump may not make sense, but I think it's from environmental perspective and sort of the gas emission statewide goals, I think definitely we want to incentivize installation and fuel substitution of energy efficiency as well. I just want to point that out.
Yes, thank you for that, Andreas. And I was going to get to that point, which is heat pumps are a very interesting energy efficiency measure. They allow you to reduce your carbon emissions in a very big way because you're now not burning natural gas anymore. You're using electricity, which is much cleaner in terms of a carbon emitting energy source. So from that perspective, those are great. And also the other thing that you, Andreas talked about and Drew talked about, which is rebates help a whole lot. So a lot of the rebates that are now coming online will help make these heat pumps kind of promote them towards the left of this diagram, which means that they will become more cost effective and start becoming our recommendations in a lot of these homes. And that's exactly what we want to see. So at this point, the diagram and all of the recommendations do not incorporate any of the rebates. So as we would do that, those rebates would start to make a lot of sense to and bring these heat pump measures, so to speak, more within the recommendation box. So thanks, great point there. So if your goal is to reduce your carbon emissions, heat pumps are a great way to do that. So let's take a look at a little bit deeper here. So if you click on any one of these, let's click on weatherization. That's a pretty big arrow here. You get a little bit more information about that particular measure. And it shows you exactly what is meant by weatherization. Here's a paragraph that describes that. And it gives you some more information about the heat pump cost and the heat pump savings. Oh, sorry, so the weatherization cost and weatherization savings. And a little bit more information to get a little bit more deeper involved. I want to show you how you can now take the next step. So let's say you've looked at this and you say, this looks interesting, I'd like to go ahead and do that. You can now very easily through our interface find a local contractor to do this work. To be able to unlock that, I have to do one last thing. So I'm going to go back up here. I just clicked outside and I'm going to say, hey, I own this home. This is my home. So I'm going to go ahead and pretend that I'm the owner. To do that, I'm going to say, I am the owner. It then pulls up this dialog box, which says, please create an account or log into XeroHome to unlock all homeowner features for this home. So if you're new to XeroHome and you haven't created an account, you would go to this tab called New Account. But if you've already created an account earlier, in this case I have, with this fake email, I'm just going to go ahead and sign in. So you type in your email and your password, and you go ahead and sign in. And now it's signed me in. Now it says, welcome back to XeroHome. And as soon as I did that, notice that the $10 gift card is now on its way. So now I have triggered my $10 gift card, which is all the requirement we have. If you own a home, go ahead and claim it. And we'll be sending you a $10 Amazon gift card. So that's great. So now you've got that going. Oops. Yeah. So this also takes you to another page, which we'll talk about in a second. There's a second promotion that we're giving, which is a free energy audit. Let me go back to the energy plan, which is where we are here. Let's take a look at something else here. Let's take a look at ceiling insulation here. All right. So here's ceiling insulation. Now we're looking at ceiling insulation, $900 cost, $95 in savings every year. So yes, it can save. This would be something that you might be interested in doing. And now you'll notice that the big lock that was there earlier is gone because we are now in this position to do that. I see there's a question here from Alex. Do we get a $10 gift card for attending this webinar? You're very close. So as long as you just need to go into the my.zerohome.com and claim your home. When you do that, you get your $10 gift card. So thanks for asking. So there are two ways for you to take the next step, so to speak. Let's say you looked at this and you said, that looks interesting. I'd like to go ahead and find a contractor who does that. There are two ways for you to do that. One way is that we've collaborated with a third party that can help you find a contractor at no cost to you. So you put in your home, put in your name right here, your phone number, and hit submit. and that'll send an email out to this third party to contact you. That's a little, that's less work on you. They take the pain of finding a contractor. But if you want to do it another way, you can also review contractors in your area, which is the second part of the box. If you click on search for contractors, this should take you to a page where you have the ability to find a contractor by service type. So you can say, hey, I want insulation, and search for that contractor, and it'll give you a list of those contractors. So this page is very interesting. It's from Go Green Financing, and we've been able to link to that. So you can find a contractor yourself, or you can use the service to find a contractor for you. So that's kind of the sort of a straightforward way for you to get from not claiming a home, or finding your home, claiming it, and then reviewing your energy plan, and then from that energy plan, get to one of or others of your recommended upgrades and take the step towards doing it. So we've hopefully made that process pretty straightforward and streamlined for you to do. At this point, I want to transfer over to Peter, and Peter is going to walk you through a few more additional steps that you can take to customize this particular energy plan to more specifically to your house. You may be able to you may look at this and say, I want to be able to give more information to XeroHome about what's in my home. You may have done a few energy upgrades recently, and you want that reflected in your energy plan. So we've made it very easy for you to do that. And to walk you through that, I'm going to go ahead and give controls to Peter. Peter, go ahead, please, and you can start talking. I'll figure out how to give you controls.
Hi there. Yeah, so thanks, Mudit. And hopefully, so up to this point, getting familiar with what the energy plan looks like, you can see a lot of information there, but you can very quickly drill down to upgrades that might have the most impact for you or whatever. But as is often the case, and we see this in other tools as well, sometimes the public data that's out there for a given home might not match exactly what you've seen on the ground, or it may not be right up to the minute. So for example, on this home, I may have installed solar only a few months ago, and we didn't pick up on that. So that's why we really want users to interact with this and to personalize their results for them. So now, Mudit, I don't quite have, I guess maybe you can steer the mouse, and I'll just kind of talk through things.
Yeah, I'll steer the mouse here, and you can keep talking. So
great. So this is, again, this is after we've searched for our home, we've claimed it, we've looked at the plan, we've actually digested a little bit of, okay, these are some things that might make sense, but I actually think I have a few ideas about where, I have some intuitions myself. So what we can do is we can click on improve recommendations. It's probably the easiest way. It's right at the top of the screen there, and one of the easiest ways for you to get to this. So as I said, XeroHome recognizes the fact that the quality estimate starts out with some uncertainty. You're going to have just our best available plan for you based on what we could pick up publicly. And we call that, we've got a badge system to clue you into where you're at in the level of the estimate that you're getting. The first is the white badge. That's where you start out. And you can see you're currently here according to this image. So the next step in really getting tighter, better personalized results is the green badge. And that's the step we're going to start on right now. The green badge is basically us getting some interaction from you, the user, the homeowner who knows this place best, and better personalizing things. And then we'll talk about the blue badge. That's the best you can get. That's when we get an energy professional involved to really check out the details of your home. So we're going to scroll down to this do-it-yourself questionnaire. So we've made every attempt to make this a fairly pain-free process. We're not asking people to do math here. And in many cases, there are a lot of questions where we're asking, take your best guess, or in some cases, the questions are even optional. But this questionnaire, it's kind of like, it's a little bit, hopefully less painful than than say, doing your taxes or, balancing the books. It's just a sort of playful way of going through some of the systems in your house and telling us what you know about them. So, for an example, we start with the thermostat set point. We'll move on to different, your heating and cooling and solar if you have it and so on. For this home, let's just say heating set points, a lot of people tend to know where they're at. So we're gonna click and notice the topics on the side. You can kind of bounce around the questionnaire if you like. We'll start with the thermostat set point. So let's go back one minute to the heating set point, and we'll set this for this home. Let's say we like it really warm. We'll set it to 74. So we really like to heat this home. And we know that we also, in the summer, we usually like to set the cooling set point to about 66. So we really cool the place down. So we're picking some examples here just to show you. And as we advance through this questionnaire, you'll notice that badge, that green badge that we're starting to earn is filling in. So that's kind of your progress bar. You'll also see on the left-hand panel, the thermostat set point piece, is check marked. So, hey, we've completed that. So great. We'll just do a couple others just to give you a flavor of the types of questions you'll be asked. So heating system type, let's say, we do have a furnace with vents. Great. So, and the next question will ask us to confirm the heating fuel in the home. So we say, yeah, we have a natural gas bill. It's a natural gas furnace. That's all fine. Now, here's an example of where if you're really tuned in to what's going on with the energy efficiency of the equipment in your home, this is an example where you can dive deeper. We give you some knobs to turn, but this note is an optional question. So if most people, I would say, don't typically know what the efficiency of their furnace is, or they might not even know where to look on the label, and that's totally okay. This is really for people who want to kind of geek out on the energy features of their home. So we're going to skip this one for right now. And note it also doesn't count against you in terms of earning the badge and completing this stage. So we'll skip ahead. Let's actually skip all the way ahead to solar here. So a very common thing that could happen, lots of people are installing solar now, that may not show up. So let's say, yes, in fact, we do have solar for this home. And that's good. If you knew all the details about your solar, you could enter them, again, optional, and we're not going to include that here. One other thing we're going to do, lighting is one that a lot of people have been doing recently. So, and it's one that's kind of, it's not permitted work, so we don't typically know 100% where people's lighting is at. So let's say for this particular home, you know what, over the past few years, we've been buying LED bulbs. We've been using the rebates that were available, and we went all LED for this house. Like every single lamp in the home pretty much is LED. So at this point, I'm going to say, you know what, I need to do some more work to figure out the other ones. Let's save and exit and see what happens. And what you'll notice is this is where things start to get kind of interesting, because XeroHome is giving you some feedback immediately, and it's telling you some things. So one thing that you will notice is that lighting and solar dropped out of the equation right away. They just dropped out of your energy plan. And the reason for this, well, obviously the solar, it's pretty obvious. With lighting, you've gone as far as you can go. We can't really improve on that for you. With solar, you've already got solar, right? One of the other maybe more subtle things is that in the case of weatherization and the heat pump HVAC, those have actually gotten quite a bit longer. And there's a pretty good reason for that, which is that you now have, you've told us something about your home. You said, I really like it warm in the winter. I really like to push my furnace, and I really like it cool in the summer. I really push my AC unit. And so that heat pump HVAC, which replaces both your heating and your cooling, believe it or not, that is really going to start saving you some significant energy, given the new scenario that you presented to XeroHome. For this particular home, still not cost effective, but it does make up a much bigger chunk of your plan. So if you wanted to truly decarbonize this home, that's going to be a pretty key piece of the path. What we do have remaining: seal ducts, weatherization, ceiling insulation. Those are some pretty core measures that almost any home can benefit from. We've ranked and prioritized them for you, and they're still looking good. So that's great. So now we've got a little bit better sense of what's going to work for this home, and it's been personalized. If we wanted, at this point, you as a homeowner might be satisfied that you've presented enough detail and you feel pretty confident you want to move ahead with some of these projects. For some people, some of these are fairly large investments. You might want to go that extra step to get all the way to that blue badge. And what that would require is signing up for a home energy audit. Now, could you go back to that last page that I just wanted to show? It shows up in a couple different places, but here you can see $750 value. There's this banner staring at you at the top of the screen with the megaphone. This is a free, limited time. We have a limited number of promotions for energy audits, or energy checkups, as we've been calling them. And if you click on the sign up, I'm just going to show you what it basically looks like. This is to take you to that blue badge level. And what this is going to do is, we have a partner in Santa Monica who can actually check out this is like getting the professional mechanic to check out all the features of your home and see how things are working. Now, granted, this is an interesting time. We have COVID going on. A lot of people are wary of having professionals come into their home. We have had several successful energy checkups, and they've all been going fine. And these folks do take the utmost precautions in performing. They follow all of the guidelines that are in place. However, we fully understand maybe this isn't the time that everyone's feeling comfortable to have someone in the home. So you can schedule an assessment today for your home if you'd like. We have people scheduling out, a few months in advance to just make sure that they're the first in line to receive their checkup once things calm down a little bit. So, but that option is there for you, and it's a really great way to get the most detailed picture of the upgrades that make sense for your home. But let's go back. So you don't necessarily have to go all the way to the full-on energy audit. There may be some very low-hanging fruit upgrades, like the ones we have in the box, where you feel like, I've been meaning to do this for a while. Let's just go ahead and do it. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take advantage of the next feature over on the bar up above, which is called Plan a Project. And in this piece of XeroHome, as the name suggests, you can actually plan out your specific home energy projects, your list of upgrades. So you land on this screen, and at least initially, your project is totally empty. What you have to do is you want to add items that would off of that project plan. Each of them appears on the left, and you can start clicking, and you'll see them start getting added to your plan. And what you'll also notice is that the costs and the savings totals will start updating as well. And so this gives you kind of a way to play with the design of your project, your energy upgrade project, and really see how the numbers pencil out more interactively. So you can see, here, if we load this thing up with everything, we're going to be looking at $13,000 project, and the lifetime savings, so not just in the first year or whatever, but your lifetime bill savings look like they're going to be $15,000. Also note that the items with the little green arrows or the little green circles and the dollar sign, those reflect items that have existing utility rebates. And so we show you what you're going to be saving on the upfront cost. And as Drew mentioned, we only just learned on this webinar ourselves about some of the late breaking rebates that the city is offering. So you could pencil those in for yourself as well. But this basically gives you a heads up way to design that. There are a couple other interesting features here. Just if you want more information about the specifics of these rebates, that is available to you here. In this case, SCE, we've incorporated just the existing electrification rebates. So for these high efficiency electric appliances, heat pump water heaters and heat pump HVAC, we've incorporated those. There may be others, but that we add in the future, but these are the ones you have for now. What I wanted to show is a feature that I don't think many of our users are aware of, which is we have a sort of handy little financing calculator here. So if in the course of exploring this project, you're saying, well, you know, I like the looks of this. I want to go all the way to net zero, and I want to do this, but man, I really need to look at the financing and how that's going to work. This part of the tool lets you do that. So what you can do here is you can select and deselect upgrades, but you can also change some of the assumptions about the loan. So it's a $13,000 project. Let's say, well, I think I can afford to put about $3,000 cash down on this project, just hypothetically. So let's just say we can, and we're okay with some of the other terms, you know, the interest rate and so on. If we click calculate, now below we can see what our estimated monthly loan payment is, what our estimated bill savings would look like, and then this is the important piece, is the last piece says, well, what's the net cash flow? Like, am I actually, with my loan payments and everything else, am I going to be still coming out ahead once I take the loan payment and the energy bill savings into account? So this net cash flow at the bottom is sort of your bottom line. And that's really key. So we can see if you you know, if you drop maybe some of the more expensive items off the list. So I think probably heat pump HVAC might be the most expensive.
All right, let's drop heat pump HVAC.
Single item, yeah. You can see some of these will start updating. And so, but what you can see is we've sort of started to craft a project where even with the financing and everything, where it's money in your pocket every month. So and you may get some additional benefits, not just the pure financial and energy savings, you better comfort, and you know, just updated equipment in your home is always good peace of mind. So so that's kind of how this piece of the tool works. Finally, and again, this is familiar, you saw it before, but just reminding again, at the end of all of this, you're like, you know, this is, I think, what I want to go in for. And you want to start at least planning around okay, I want to get some real bids from real contractors that can manage this work. That's where this step comes in. You can either reach out to folks yourself, or you can use the concierge service through this third party. And that's really neat because they get all the information about the upgrades you're interested in, and help you find contractors that meet those needs, and that have a good reputation, and so on and so forth. So and it's at no cost to you to do that. So so pretty neat way to get the ball rolling, and which is ultimately what we care about is the impact, making sure that these upgrades get into homes and start saving energy and money and carbon. So that, I believe, concludes what I was going to talk about on these other features. Mudit, did we cover everything?
We did. I think we've covered the full spectrum of the tool. Again, just a reminder, this bar on top is your guide. You can always go back to your energy plan at any point and look at that, which customizes based off of information that you provide right here. You can edit your home facts that we didn't do earlier. That makes it, once you're logged in, it makes it really easy for you to do that. You can change anything about the home right here. And you can also add energy data, which is a very simple way for us to do that. You just put in your home, your utility number, and you submit that, and we take that forward with your utility to be able to release that data to us. Adding energy data makes the recommendations even more precise and more reliable for you. So we are very excited to be able to add that as well. So I think this is basically the full spectrum of the tool. We have some questions that I'd like to get to in our last 5 minutes here. So there's a question that says, does the system take into account sustainable landscaping like trees or cooling for cooling, and white roofs for reflecting sunlight for energy savings? That's a great question. The tool has certain energy efficiency measures that we have built into it, and those are what we are able to recommend at this time. White roofs is not one of those right now. White roofs have been in, as you know, in Title 24 code for a little while. They're a great energy efficiency measure. Trees is another very interesting one that we hope to be able to add into in future, in a near future version of this. So we take your recommendations very carefully, and thank you for recommending both those. We've been looking at both the trees and white or light roofs as an energy efficiency measure. So it's great to see some interest from you on that. So currently we don't offer it, but a future version we will be able to do that. Please stay tuned. Another question is, does the system also include the energy savings from high efficiency appliances and shower heads for cost savings? Actually, just going back to the first question, I didn't address the sustainable landscaping part, which also relates to the water efficiency portion. The XeroHome tool is specifically in its scope looking at energy, which is the energy, which is typically electricity and natural gas usage. So the energy usage for heating of water is included, but water itself is not part of the equation here. So we don't include any savings that you would get from, let's say, a low flow shower head of less water usage into the tool's equation, but it does take into account any energy that goes into heating that water. I hope that makes sense. The high efficiency appliances that you asked for in the second question, we don't have a high efficiency appliance measure, so to speak. We try to think of those as end users that are in your control, either through behavioral change or through investments that you want to make on your own. XeroHome specifically targets some of those bigger picture items. So going back to the pie chart that I shared with you, there's a 60-40 split between appliances, lighting, and others, and the 60% of it is energy used to heat and cool your home and heat your water. XeroHome really goes after that 60% first, which is how do we affect that bigger piece of the pie. The appliances and lighting, we do address lighting, but we don't address particularly, we don't address the appliance side yet.
But that's I do want to add too, though, Alex, that those are all super good and thoughtful questions. I think, you know, all of these are part of the whole reason we're doing this in partnership with SCE in Santa Monica. Is, you know, this is great learning for us too about, you know, really what folks are interested in. I think that has been a theme we've heard from people is, you know, with the exception of lighting, a lot of these things are quite high cost, and you know, some of the things that we're able, you know, that I'm able to do as a homeowner to get started might be a little, you know, lower on the first cost side. So great suggestions. Those are things we'll all take back in the product design for sure.
Yep, this is one of the reasons why we're very excited to do this webinar and talk to you guys, because we get to hear from you what's important for you. So very useful feedback. Thank you. We have one more question, which is, can you discuss how you vet contractors that are recommended? Also very good question. We are not in the business of vetting contractors. We recommend contractors as a sort of a registry of contractors, which you saw on the Go Green Financing website. You can find them yourself. The third party that we have decided to collaborate with, they do some work in terms of finding contractors that they have sort of a scoring system. They look at prior reviews from contractors and so on. So going back to, let's go back to one of these and you can show. So like we said, we have two ways that you can find contractors. This one on the right, which is search for the contractors, lets you do the work yourself. So you would have to go through reviews and and ratings of those contractors. If you choose this option, which is to help choose a contractor, the third party that we're working with does some work in recommending the contractors for you. In fact, they have what they call a concierge service. So if you do go through this process, you would get a phone call from their concierge, and they would walk you through some of the bids. They can even collect bids for you from multiple contractors as one of the services they provide. So if you're interested in sort of a more curated process of finding a recommended contractor, we recommend using this third party that we've contracted with to work with them. But if you want to do that work yourself, the Go Green financing page that shows you the list of contractors, you can then go through it and identify contractors and search for recommendations and prior ratings yourself. So that's kind of our method of making sure that you have both these options available to you. One's a little bit more curated, more like a concierge service. They help find a good contractor for you. The other one is kind of a more do-it-yourself option. I hope that answers the question. Great. Thank you, Alex, for your questions. Thank you, everyone, for attending. As always, the tool is free to use. It's for your benefit. These promotions that we talked about are all being brought to you thanks to sponsorship by Southern California Edison and support from the City of Santa Monica Sustainability Office. Again, a quick thank you to both of them. If you ever find yourself having more questions, the easiest way to find help is to use this little pill at the bottom called help. You can type in a question. We typically like to get back to you within 24 hours. So if you have any question, please go ahead and contact customer support. We'll get your question and answer it in a very timely manner. And as a last sort of parting thought, we'd love to tell you that if you like what you see here, please go ahead and talk to your neighbors about it. This is a resource for you to be able to make thinking about energy for your home easier, and more accessible. So do promote this link to your neighbors and your friends that might be interested in energy. We also very fondly look forward to people's reactions and recommendations. So thank you for attending today. Thanks for all of your input, your questions. We look forward to hearing from you soon.
Thank you, Moody, and thank you, Santa Monica, and you guys for this webinar, and looking forward to helping customers to improve energy efficiency. Thank you.
Great. Drew, would you like to say final words?
Yeah, no, great job, Moody and Peter and team. So,